think it's all those things, right? It's really like dependent on the person, what they're wearing, what's going to complement it, and then the environment. Like Laura's, for instance, she was wearing a green dress. So I wanted to go as dark as I could that would still look appropriate for a woman who's in her 50s, because an extremely, extremely dark lip, as dark as like that, would have been a little harsh and severe for her. So it was like, I wanted to give the base of that, but then I needed to brighten it up. But I needed to brighten it up in a way that wasn't going to make the green and the red look like Christmas, you know? So it was finding the right balance of brown and blue tone plum. And I used both. So I used like a brick and a plum, which sound like two totally different things, but I needed like both in order to complement. There was the band at the bottom, which was the color that I was pulling up to the top, which had a lot of depth. So I needed to like find that balance. And also, if it was too plum, it would have, like I said, looked too severe. If it was too brick, it might have red in the lights and everything, just too red along this. So finding the balance there. And then in terms of texture, it's important to have like a deep velvety base, but you don't want it to look flat and you don't want it to look flat and dead, right? Thick and dead. Yeah. So having some aliveness without it getting too shiny. That's beautiful for a photo shoot. You know, that like really dark lip with a high shine. Yeah. Amazing for a photo shoot. Right. For a red carpet, that could
reality.
Be dangerous. It's the environment. Like, you know, what one could do for a photo shoot is not necessarily what one could do for a red carpet. Right. But I'm remembering there was a lip I did on Margot for Suicide Squad premiere in New York. She was wearing a Alexander McQueen dress that was black that had a silver unicorn on it.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I saw the unicorn dress. We saw the unicorn. And I was like, the only thing that's going to work is the blackest lip possible, but not black, but like the deepest dahlia. You know, with her because of her age and who she was and what the movie was. Suicide Squad. I could go really severe, sharp. When I'm prepping, you know, I'm prepping on myself, but my skin tone's so different. So it's one thing to like kind of narrow it down to try to, you know, I'm narrowing it down, but then when I'm with the person, I have to swipe on their skin first, because how it's going to read on their skin. If something's going to read like, for me, it'll read like super dark, but I'll swipe it on you and it'll read more berry, you know, so have to see it on your skin, and then we can narrow down and then try it on the lip, because the same thing, how it's reading on a hand or on an arm is very different than how it's going to read once it hits the lip, because the pigment of the lip. Back to like the amazing thing about a Winners is like when someone wants to try out a trend like this, they can try a bunch of different shades, they can buy those and not break the bank in the exploration process. You know, you definitely, especially with dark, when you're doing very dark lips or very pale shades, the same thing can happen if there's a lot of like dry cracks. You see them a lot more than like when you're in the middle tones. So you want to make sure that any like dead skin, exfoliated, you know, you want to make sure the lips are buffed first. Lip balm, but you want that to have worn in by the time you get to the lipstick, but you want them to have been hydrated. You don't want that lip balm on right before the lipstick. The way I approach it is I'll swipe the lipstick on the lips straight out of the tube and have them mush it together on their lips, because I want to see where it's going to land naturally, just from life. And then I go from there. I'm not trying to like do the shape straight up, because I want to see where lipstick naturally falls, and that first base coat is like a nice base coat, basically. And then from there, after that base coat, then I'll usually go in with a pencil, because with a dark lip, you want there to be real definition, but not sharp. With the pencil, I love chubbier pencils than finer pencils for that first swipe of, you know, shape. Then I might take a sharper, pointier, smaller pencil, for little detail work. And then another coat of lipstick. It's the layers that are really important. And then also with the tones, as I was saying, with Laura, for Laura, I did the blue tone first, but then I added the brickier tones more in the center.
Okay.
Because I knew the blue tone would give it the depth I wanted, but I needed to brighten it up and harmonize, and in a way that the brickier tone, and I did that only in the center. I don't put powder on it, because I don't like the way it feels. When I've done it on myself, it feels gritty. So I'm just gonna blot. I'll sometimes take a little tiny brush with powder around the edge if someone has an issue with creasing. But if someone has an issue with creasing, I'll do a lot of primer around the edges, you know, so that it's gonna kind of almost stop the bleed, you know, and fill in if there's any little creases. Hopefully fill those in and prevent them.
Right.
The traveling trains. And if someone does have an issue with like their lipstick bleeding, I'll say to them, okay, you're doing this lip, you've got to check this, watch. The lipstick wants to go there, it wants to fall there, it wants to bleed there. You've got to watch, and I'll send them with a Q-tip to clean it up, maybe a concealer actually definitely, because red lipstick, when it does, you know, wear a little, if you've eaten a little, as soon as it gets off the lip line and around there, it just looks sloppy. So a little concealer to clean up the slop, and then touch up lipsticks, of course, but it's never, you know, there are longer wear formulas, but it's still not meant to be tattooed on. Like a brow, important, you know, like for there to be balance between brow and lip is important. And like a lash, you know, so that the eye feels open. Something a little bit on the cheek, a little tone on the cheek, so they don't look goth, unless they want to be goth. And then that's another thing. But like that, the skin looks alive, you know. So cheek will help with that, and brow will help with just, you know, keeping balance.
To the frame.